Venator was the newest hero added to Deadlock yesterday. Once again, the Deadlock devs outdo themselves in terms of this character's art style, his voice lines, his abilities. And Venator is pretty unique when it comes to some of his abilities and some of his stats. He does some unique things that no other heroes in the game currently do. He also has a hidden ability that you're going to want to know before you jump into your game as Venator. He's a very weapon damage focused hero, relying a lot on orange items and not at all on spirit items. In today's video, I'm going to go over his kit, give you some tips and tricks with his abilities, and go over some of the best items to get on Venator right now. Make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss any Deadlock news and updates going forward. As always, first, let's go over all of his abilities. His first ability is called Consecrating Grenade. Fire a grenade that bounces before exploding, dealing weapon damage and setting enemies on fire. Burning targets deal pure damage to enemies in the area and suffer from reduced healing. Some noteworthy things about his kit, and he has 3 abilities that work this way. The damage scales off weapon damage and not spirit power. This means that the more weapon damage stat you have, the higher the damage of this Consecrating Grenade will be. More orange items, more damage. Shooting this grenade at an enemy will explode on impact, and the burning damage will stick to them even if they move around. Other enemies in the area will also be burned by this effect if they get close enough. This grenade will also bounce one time, meaning you can ricochet it off of walls to hit a group of enemies or an enemy hiding away from you at low health. Next up, we have Gut Shot. This ability also scales with weapon damage. Fire a blast with your shotgun, dealing weapon damage and pushing enemies back. Enemies near a wall will receive a stun and take bonus weapon damage. So hitting an enemy with this ability will knock them back, and if they hit a wall they will be stunned, allowing you to potentially get a melee off or just do more damage. If they don't hit a wall, it's effectively a get back ability. There's some interesting tech that you can do with this ability, and you can actually use it similar to Shiv's right click, and you can use it as a movement ability. Once you have momentum, all you have to do is look straight down or behind you and use your second ability and you will launch yourself upwards or forward. The only difference between Venator and Shiv is that Venator's is on a cooldown because it's an ability. His third ability is called Hex-Lined Snap Trap, and this is his only ability that deals spirit damage. Kick a trap that arms after a brief delay. The trap springs on the first enemy it touches, dealing spirit damage, applying Immobilize and revealing enemies for a duration afterwards. You can't throw this ability very far in front of you, and it doesn't have that big of a range, but if the enemies touch it, they will be immobilized for 1.5 seconds. If an enemy ends up triggering the trap, they will be revealed through walls for you for a few seconds even after they get out of the trap. His ultimate ability is called Ira Domini. Load your crossbow with 3 stakes, dealing massively increased weapon damage. The final stake is Blessed, dealing bonus pure damage and executing low health enemies. The execute threshold is set at 8%, and once you get your ultimate to level 3, all the stakes become blessed. You can't quite rapid fire off all of your stakes. There is a little bit of a reload time, but that final stake does increase damage and will execute enemies if they are at low enough health. Once you get your ultimate to tier 3, all the stakes from your ultimate start to do chunky damage. Some tips that you need to know about this ability is that the hitbox for the stakes you're shooting is actually pretty big, so you don't have to be completely accurate with them. As you can see in this clip, I'm shooting Abram over his shoulder and above his head, and the stakes are still hitting. It's also important to note that this ultimate has piercing damage, meaning it can go through enemies and hit multiple enemies at once. Shooting a target with another enemy behind them will hit both of them. Like I said at the beginning of the video, 3 of his 4 abilities scale with straight up weapon damage, so an item like Sharpshooter will actually increase the damage of the ultimate when you're at range. It's actually pretty interesting because Ricochet will also work with your ultimate. Shooting a target with a stake will bounce off and hit any other nearby targets just as Ricochet would with your normal gun. Your first, second, and fourth ability all scale with straight up weapon damage, meaning just buying orange items increases your gun investment, giving you more weapon damage, meaning your abilities also do more damage. Venator also has a little bit of a hidden ability. His bullet resistance and spirit resistance scale with spirit power. This means that any spirit power you have from items or pickups will increase his bullet resistance, spirit resistance, and also melee resistance. The more purple items you have, the more built-in resistance you'll have. The only problem with this is that he only has one ability that scales with spirit power. So in an ideal world, you'll mainly be building orange items on this character, but you could throw in a few spirit items just to build up your resistance. Alright, let's go over some good items to buy in Venator right now. To really get the most out of his kit, you're going to want items that just give you pure weapon damage. Berserker is a good example. Your weapon damage increases as you take sustained damage. This weapon damage will apply to your first, second, and fourth ability. Hollow Point is another great example. When you're above 65% health, you deal additional weapon damage and your bullets will reduce enemy bullet resist. Weighted shots as well will grant you an additional 35% weapon damage. Inhibitor is also a great late game green investment as it grants 22% weapon damage, and for the early game, Battle Vest is great. While you're above 65% health, you gain weapon damage and bonus fire rate. That's an additional 15% weapon damage to not only your gun, but also your abilities. But honestly, this character has a super fun kit overall, and it's going to be pretty easy to build, even if you're not too familiar with all the items in the game yet. If you buy orange items on this character, you will do more damage. Simple as that. So let me know down in the comments what you think of Venator so far. Do you think he's as strong as other gun heroes in the game, or as strong as some of the other new characters like Silver? Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any Deadlock news or updates going forward as the game continues to grow, and I'll see you in the next video. Later.